Hi everyone, Ryan here from Fight Game Analysis, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming fight between Jose Aldo and Pedro Munhoz. But before we jump into that, if you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and click on the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support. Alright, so we've got a big fight coming up this Saturday between Jose Aldo and Pedro Munhoz. Man, when I think about Jose Aldo, the man is an absolute legend in the sport. You know, a lot of people don't realize it, but he was the champ. The featherweight champ in the UFC, the very first one that came over from the WEC. So the parent company of the UFC was Zuffa at the time. They had purchased the WEC and eventually folded that into the WEC, into the UFC. Aldo was the reigning featherweight champion of the WEC. So when he came over, he received the first UFC belt. And he held that thing, he defended that belt, I want to say 7 times. He held that belt for years as the only featherweight champion in the UFC, just absolutely blowing out, dominating all the competition as guys were coming up through the ranks, just continually cementing himself as number one. Until eventually he got caught by the left hand of Conor McGregor, when McGregor was just on that absolute star-studded, just straight to the moon rise, man. He caught Aldo with a beautiful left hand, ended the title reign. And I gotta be honest, at the time, I thought that there was a very real possibility that Aldo's best days were behind him. I mean, he already wasn't exactly the most active champion. He had injuries here and there, pulling out of fights throughout the years. Rumor had it that it was really tough for him to make the weight for quite some time. I just figured after that one that it was kind of, we were still going to continue to see him fight, but it was going to be one of those things where his best days were behind him. And Aldo was still super young at the time. And, it was just, I don't know, it was just one of those stories. Sometimes that just happens with guys' careers. They blow up early and then they don't really got the staying power. Fast forward to today and it's like, look at everything he's done since then. And I've counted him out since then. I thought he came back and he looked all right. And then all of a sudden he had the 2 back-to-back knockout losses to Max Holloway. And I'm like, that's it. It's over for him. And the man just continues to impress. Something else. Got everything you could ask for in a fighter. Man's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, although you won't necessarily see that in his game. You wouldn't be able to pick it up from the way that he practices his craft inside the octagon. He's not really that type of a fighter. His Muay Thai is phenomenal, but he prefers to keep it on the feet. Some of the absolute best leg kicks in the business. I mean, you go back, you watch some of his films, not that you got to go back far, but you can go all the way back. You can just look at his fight with Marlon Moraes. You can look at his fight with Petr Yan. I mean, you can look at any of them. You can look at him with Chito Vera. I mean, when that man throws leg kicks, his opponent feels it. No wind up on it, no tell, just comes out there and ferociously attacks the opponent's legs. Love the way he does it. You look at that fight with Petr Yan. That was incredibly high-level MMA back and forth. The striking in that fight was awesome. Both of those men. The back and the forth, the catching and the countering and the slight upper body movements and the shifting and the angles and the distance. Both of those guys were so tough in there just standing in a phone booth right in front of each other with just the most subtle and slight movements. Eventually Petr Yan was able to wear Aldo down. He ended up getting the win. But what Aldo showed in that fight was something else. That was absolutely beautiful striking. And it kind of encapsulates what Aldo brings to the table. Still, all this time in the game, operating at the absolute highest level. And let me say this, one of the things that I love about Aldo's game is the pressure. He wants to stay in your face. He wants to come forward. He wants to back you up. But he doesn't do it as the most aggressive fighter. He doesn't do it coming forward and just trying to wing punches, trying to wing kicks, just trying to throw everything he can, overwhelm you, back you up against the cage. Not his style at all. He comes forward and applies pressure, but does it without punching because he loves counterpunching, because his timing's so perfect. Speaking of that fight with Chito Vera, it's a perfect example. Chito, this young, hungry challenger coming forward. Once again, no easy fights for Aldo. Every single time out there, he's fighting some of the top competition in the division. So he gets out there against Chito Vera, and I think right away in the first round, the tone for the fight was pretty much set, and it was 2 exchanges. One was just a nasty leg kick that Aldo landed that kind of let Chito know that was going to be there, that was going to be an offensive weapon. But the other one was a jab that Aldo countered. Chito, he's got the longer reach. He attempted to establish this distance. He throws out the jab. Aldo punches with him with the right hand and just catches Chito nasty. And right there, you could tell that the fight changed. It was at that point that Aldo was able to begin doing what he wanted to do as far as controlling the octagon, controlling the space, controlling the distance. He was able to come forward, start to apply the pressure that he wanted to apply. Chito wasn't quite so active, didn't want to be quite so aggressive with his offense because he knew what was coming back at him were just deadly accurate counter punches. It was something else. And he changed the complexion of the fight just that fast. Came out there, set the tone against the young, hungry opponent, and did it beautifully. I mean, he brings so much to the table. And then standing across from him, Pedro Munhoz. Now, Pedro Munhoz he's another guy in the sense that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, decorated before he came in and started practicing MMA. Nasty guillotine that people know about. Don't even, D1 wrestlers don't even want to shoot it on him. They're afraid of getting caught. But you don't really see it all that much in the octagon. I mean, he'll use that guillotine defensively. Somebody shoots on him, he'll grab it, go for their neck. If the neck's there, obviously he's going to take it. But if he has his way, he's going to make this a stand-up fight. He's going to be right in front of you, winging shots, hard punches. Now, he likes to apply pressure, but it's a different pressure than Aldo. He likes to apply pressure, and he wants to come in there, and he wants to lead the dance. He wants to throw all the shots, and he wants to throw hard punches. He's got a pretty good work rate, and he's an American top team now, and you can see over the course of these last few fights that his offense has been progressing. His game has continually stepped up. You look at what he did against Aljamain Sterling. Early in that fight, he was having some trouble with the speed and the footwork of Sterling, right? Aljamain was able to get out. Munhoz wasn't cutting the octagon off well, but by the second round, everything changed. And it changed because of the leg kicks. When he's able to land those leg kicks, particularly the calf, that's what he uses as though it's his jab. It's like his range finder. He gets his distance. He gets the rhythm and the feel of the fight. Once he starts to get those low kicks off, man, watch out. And he did that against Sterling. And on the one hand, it gave him his distance and his timing and started to open up his other shots for him. And then on the other hand, it also inhibited the movement of Sterling. So it was the double whammy out there, the double win for Munhoz by starting to land those low kicks. If you look at it with Cody Garbrandt, right? Fight just prior to Sterling, same thing. He got those low kicks off. It was messing with the footwork of Garbrandt. Now, obviously, Garbrandt, he came out there, he landed the big punch, but, neither here nor there. You can see those low kicks were what were setting everything up before that brutal finish. Against Frankie Edgar, against Jimmy Rivera, it's the exact same story, particularly against Jimmy Rivera. Man, the way he was tearing Jimmy Rivera's leg up, it was making me cringe at home, man. My leg hurt watching it while I was sitting on the couch. That's how bad those leg kicks were. And once he starts to get those off, he opens everything else up. He comes in there, he throws really hard punches. He's got some good timing. He's got power behind it. He's got a rock-solid chin. I mean, early in that fight, Jimmy Rivera caught him with a really good left hook. Looked like he stunned him for a second. But other than that, he's able to take almost everything that people throw at him. He's a durable fighter. That being said, his game isn't perfect either. One of the things that I dislike about him is I don't think he gets in and out enough. He gets in front of you. He wants to stay in front of you. And that's great for applying pressure. But if your opponent knows where to find you, they're going to be able to get their shots off. He also doesn't use a lot of head movement. The majority of his defense revolves around blocking shots. And that's all well and good, but particularly when you got those small 4-ounce gloves, you're not going to be able to block everything that comes back at you. And I think that's part of the reason that he also has trouble with speed. I mentioned that early in that Aljamain Sterling fight. Sterling's hands, his feet are quick and he gets a lot of movement and everything, but he gets off good combinations. He's got fast hands, and he was lighting Munhoz up. You look at his fight against Jimmy Rivera. Jimmy Rivera's got fast hands, accurate. He was able to come in there and land good hard shots against Munhoz. It was the leg kick that changed everything, but that doesn't change the fact that guys with fast hands, guys who know how to throw combinations, guys who have footwork, guys who know how to use angles, those are the type of things that are going to give Pedro Munhoz problems. The question is, what's it going to look like when these two are standing across the octagon from each other on Saturday night? I'm going with Jose Aldo on this one. I think he is going to pull it out once again. He is going to continue to prove time and time again why he operates at the absolute highest level of MMA. The man practices his craft at the absolute peak of the mountaintop, I'm telling you. You look at everybody that they throw him in against, and now it's going to be against Pedro Munhoz, and I think he's going to get the win here. What I think the difference is going to be is the leg kicks. Pedro Munhoz needs to get those leg kicks off to get everything going. He needs to get those leg kicks off to get the timing, to get the distance, to get his opponent's respect, to throw off the offense of his opponent. I don't think anybody's going to go out there and win a leg kicking contest against Jose Aldo. For every single kick that Pedro Munhoz throws, there is going to be something nasty coming back. A nasty right hand over the top, a nasty leg kick of his own, a beautiful left hook to the body. I didn't even mention earlier the way that Jose Aldo goes to the body, man. It is something special. Go ask Renato Moicano about the way Jose Aldo goes to the body. I think Aldo's got better defense. I think he's got more power. I think he's got faster hands. I think he's just a little bit better in almost everywhere as far as the striking is concerned than Pedro Munhoz. So I think between the hand speed and the combinations, the little angles and the counter punching that Jose Aldo is able to get off, I think he's going to, as the fight wears on, he's going to continually be able to get his shots off just a little bit more. And once it's kind of established that he's not able to get what he wants with the leg kicks, once he's not able to get that distance, I think he's going to find it pretty difficult to really get his shots off. And since he throws everything so hard, since he throws everything like it's just this home run knockout punch, once you combine that with him not being able to get his shots off, after the first round into the second round, I think he's going to start reaching. I think he's going to start extending himself over his front leg. And I think those are just going to open up even more countering opportunities for Jose Aldo. Pedro Munhoz is going to land some shots. The man's highly talented. Nobody's going to go out there and get away scot-free. So he's going to go out there and he's going to land some shots against Aldo. Don't get me wrong. But Aldo's going to shine. The whole fight, I believe that for the most part, he's going to look like he's in control. He'll be able to apply the pressure that he wants, get his counter shots off. Pedro Munhoz won't get that low kick going. And it's going to end up being another win for Jose Aldo. Just another one on the books for the man who's already an absolute legend. Let me know what you guys think. Is this going to be another one for Jose Aldo? Or is he going to get a loss and we're going to see Pedro Munhoz just continue to storm through and show why? Who knows? Maybe his name should soon start to be mentioned in the ranks for a title shot. Maybe after Petr Yan and Aljamain Sterling figure it out, people are talking about TJ Dillashaw possibly getting one after that. But if Munhoz gets a win here, where does his name rank? Let me know what you guys think.